Hello, beautiful soul. Welcome to Starseed Gathering. We are right now in this very important part of 2023 where there's so much change, so much energies, and it's very beautiful to have so many souls are coming in to share their gifts, to share their story, to share who they are and what has helped them to go through all of this spiritual path because it's a lot of ups and downs for all of us. So Rachel is here today from the States. She will talk about who she is, what brought her here today, and what's her spiritual journey, and while also what beautiful services she offers. So Rachel, you can start just sharing a bit more about who you are. And for those that don't know me, I'm Annabelle Ivaya. I'm a deep soul healer. And I say deep every time because we're going very deep in a past lives with me. I use like language. I can see and channel so many different beings that support you and all of your guides. So that's why I love to call myself a deep soul healer. So yeah, Rachel, go ahead, share about who you are and things that you have on your heart to share with us today.
Cool. Thank you so much just for the chance to be able to be here and speak a little bit. I would say my spiritual journey really took a crazy turn like 4 years ago right now. I made the decision to like break up with my boyfriend that I had, and he was the first relationship I had, and we were kind of more like friends. It wasn't like this romantic relationship that I had pictured when I was young. And then like I broke up with him, and 2 days later the universe is like, here's who you really want. And I fell like very hard and fast for him, but he didn't want a relationship. And it just kind of started this whole, codependent healing, daddy issue, crazy journey. I would say even like before that though, like 5-6 years ago, I kind of finished college and I realized like what I wanted to do for work didn't fit into a role that already existed. So I looked at like Tony Robbins and learned about passive income and being an entrepreneur, and really realizing now through this time, like I like to podcast. I've written a book now. I like to coach. I like to do energy work. I like to do a lot of things, and I want to get paid to be myself and change the world, right? When I was 18, my dream was to change the world, and I didn't know what that meant yet. But now that I've gone through this like crazy, physical, emotional, spiritual healing, it's really kind of come full circle. And I started like out of college right away. I was like, oh, I want my own business. And I kind of worked with a business coach and realized that she was doing these old, like kind of like scare fear tactics. And I was like, that doesn't feel good. So really kind of coming back to what you were just saying too, like there's so much turbulence and change, and really needing or wanting to like take a lot of steps back for me and being like, okay, why am I here right now? Right. I know that I'm an old soul. I know that I'm a healer at spirit. Like, I know that I can see stuff and hear stuff that other people can't. Like, I have visions for what things I want to create and bring to the world. And that's just been this like in and out work on myself to be like, okay, I have to get rid of the limiting beliefs that say I can't do it. Okay, I have to not have the victim mindset of, that's too big, you can't do it, your people aren't around you, like all of those things. And I was kind of just saying to someone the other day, like I feel like I've changed 180 degrees, like completely transformed. And sometimes I struggle with, I don't have other things that people my age have right now, like a family, relationship, house, whatever. But it's like okay, but I'm also doing this heavy lifting work that a lot of people haven't, and it's like hard work to do, and they're just not ready to sit with it yet. So I really found that this, spiritual framework and light worker and star seed and light language and other beings, kind of learning about all those, it's just really helped me understand why I'm here right now, if that makes sense.
It does. It does. It's beautiful. I really can relate so much. You're comparing yourself with the the norms of like having like the house, the husband, the kids, and
Yeah.
all of these things. And then like, man, I'm really far from that right now. But
Yeah.
but I know for me when I was younger, it was not a dream really. Like I knew I was gonna do something big for this, this earth. And as you were saying, I didn't know really what it meant. Um, and I kind of went in the way of social work and help this way, but still
Mhm.
in a box, but I can understand like feeling that you're so different than others and not understanding why you have such a different journey. Like it feels like
Yeah.
everybody has it together and you feel like, man, it's like for me it's not it's not that easy. And I think with time we understand that it's not easy for them either,
Yeah.
I should say, but their content of whatever is happening for them and they stay in that comfort or in that zone that they know.
Mhm.
um what made you step out of this comfort zone of yours and put yourself first and all of these things we have to learn through this beautiful spiritual journey?
Yeah. I would say the biggest thing, so my parents like divorced when I was 16, and I mean, I kind of had a stomach ache all the time growing up anyway. But then I went off to college, and then like 19 and 20, I had anxiety and depression like I've never had before. Insomnia, like I gained weight when I had never gained weight. So I physically felt really ick and just, like when it was the depression was this summer after junior year of college, and I had never had this before where I just woke up and I wanted to go back to bed and everything hurt physically, emotionally. I had a headache all the time. And definitely by something bigger than me. My cousin had shared with me a book called A Mind of Your Own by Kelly Brogan. And she talked about depression as a symptom of chronic inflammation. And I read it and I was like, oh my gosh, like I want to detox from all these chemicals, go gluten free, sugar free. Then I learned about gut health. So I really did a lot of that kind of heavy lifting. And then, like, starting with 4 years ago, I would say all that emotional stuff kind of came up because I was doing the physical stuff. And then I was like, there's a deeper level because I had started to kind of get the gears going. Or like some people went gluten free and they just felt immediately better. And I was like, what? Like, I still am not how I want to feel. And then, yeah, just like dating and intimacy and learning how my parents' relationship kind of affected me as a kid and being sensitive. It was just a lot. I didn't feel like I could, or I don't know, I had a lot of emotions, but I don't know if I really processed them or felt them in a healthy way. Um, and then, yeah, I mean, it's just been hard too, like in all that, like gone through breakups, and then I've moved a lot. I've changed jobs a lot of different times. So I just did a $5 reading from a website yesterday, but she was like, there's like, I see a lot of stability coming for you. And I was like, I don't even know if I know what stability means, right? Because I had just like a nervous system that was so dysregulated when I was young, and it's up and down family dynamics. And it's like, okay, I'm waiting, right? I sit and allow. And I hope that some of that stuff will manifest because it has been hard to like, I can't grab onto anything that helps me make sense of this hard stuff that I've gone through sometimes. Like, I think the closest I get to that is like being outside, or I have had moments with awesome people. But sometimes in those moments, it's just like, I need to grab onto the bed. Like, I need to feel my clothes to something because a lot of that other stuff isn't kind
Tangible.
of, yeah.
Yeah. I feel a lot that chaotic environment, and I don't think that as a child, obviously as a child you don't understand, but I was in a chaotic environment for most of my life too. And it was like, this was just known. It was, I think, I remember even being like, if somebody was too center, I would be like, this is weird. Like, I don't know. I don't get this. an energy that you're right now.
Yeah.
I would be like, hallelujah, you're centered. But back then, it was just, the more chaotic you were, the better I understood you, and the better I
Mm,
felt like in this known space. What's coming up is like a very tiring to the soul
yeah.
space too. Like we get so tired of all of those moves, of all of those changes, although everything happens for a reason, and we know that as an adult. But
Mm-hmm.
I do feel, as you say, there is a need of feeling that we can root ourselves somewhere and feel that we're safe and that we're gonna receive everything we need, maybe not everything we want, but everything we
Yeah.
need, that we're gonna be provided for, that we're guided, protected. This is very important. And it's, for most of us, that was not how we grew up. So it's even hard to believe that can actually happen, right?
Yeah. I was very close to both of my parents growing up. And then when they divorced, it was just kind of rough for a little bit of time. I was mad at both of them. My mom is remarried, and for a while, like I was kind of mad at her just how she handled it. And then me and my dad just, I think there was a lot of stuff kind of under the surface and subconsciously all the time. Um, but then there was a point where I kind of had blocked him out of my life for a couple months too, because I was just like, if you're going to treat me that way, like I don't want you in my life. You were saying something that reminded me what I was saying, the stability. Like again, yeah, right. Looking back now that I'm an adult, when I was a kid, like I didn't know if I would get the dad that was like very loving and present for me, or the one who was more emotionally like moody and up and down. So that was just, I understand why I didn't feel safe all the time. I was just kind of used to that, like, oh, I don't know what I'm gonna get. And because I've done a lot of like trauma work or nervous system work or rewiring the brain, energy work, whatever you want to call it, / all of those things. Now it's more like, oh, like the chaos isn't there. And I'm like, what do I kind of do with myself in a good way though? Right. I think we're meant to be this way. But now it's like, right, what is going to come in now? Oh, can I actually create the life that I want to, or that I envisioned when I was younger from this place? Because I definitely think trying to do it from the chaotic one, you would just get more chaos, right? You would just breathe that. It would be your energetic match for it.
Exactly. That's such a good point.
Yeah, I didn't realize that till right now as I'm doing it. So.
Beautiful how things go, but you're right. And I think that's one of the biggest learning. If you keep yourself in environments that are chaotic, and I mean, I think we're gonna have chaos around us like most of our
Mhm.
life. But there is still stuff we can control. This is actually the type of relationship we're in, the type of
Mhm.
people we connect to, the type of work we have, and the visions or the mindset we have about everything else, everything
Mhm.
within, everything without. So that's a very important part, because it's really hard, as you say. Like I remember when I started my journey, and I was like, all right, I'm just gonna think good things, and all of the good things are gonna come. And it was like, nope, it's not happening. How come? Like how come?
Yeah.
It's supposed to work. They say it's working. I read the book The Secret. They say that.
Yep.
But
I
there's
know.
so many levels, right? Of things. You need to have a clear vessel and feel this peace, this harmony, this love within, to be able to create it outside of you.
That's how I mean, yeah, I read that book, and then I think I started to find the law of attraction kind of stuff, and I definitely swarmed my mind with podcasts and such. So that was almost phase one, right? Like the
Mm-hmm.
new thoughts you can think, and understanding, oh, like that's how the universe works, not like what we've been conditioned to learn. Like work, like I'm an American, right? Like work hard, you'll get everything you want. And like learning it more from the energetic and spiritual perspective, like no, this is how you actually get what you want. And I do think, I chose to incarnate here because I could spend my whole career just in America, kind of, I think, doing a lot of the work that I want to do. there's so many different people, and I like being an American, being kind of that rebel, and but at the same time there's just a lot of systems here that really need some of this healing, and there are people who are showing up in those, and making changes, but like I said, I just kind of understand that more too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we all have, depending where we living with the consciousness. I think things that doors that we don't even see yet will open at some point wherever we are. That's
Mhm.
also an alignment. Like alignment it seems like a very very easy and simple concept, but it's
Mhm.
multi-layered, and it just, if you want to have an ease, you need to have this ease with you, not trying to control your emotions, not trying to control all of the things that you thinking about, because, we're still human. We're still having
Yeah.
this body here on this planet. Would you want to travel? Is that what you were kind of heading towards when you were talking about your country?
The very first reading I got was from a woman here locally. And I met her because my aunt got certified in healing touch and they shared a building together, or were next door or something. And she was like, I see you like traveling all over the world. And this was again before I really got into all the stuff, all my healing and whatever I've done. So I was like, well, that sounds kind of cool. And then I realized, like, when I watch the mentors I really like Wayne Dyer, Louise Hay, Tony Robbins, just a lot of those sorts of people. I'm like, oh, like I do want to travel the world and make it a better place. So I think with the internet, we have so much more reach, and that's awesome. And then I also know that people are really looking for those deep, as you say, like genuine, rich in-person experiences too. Like if you can bring your energy to a room, wherever on the planet, because it's needed everywhere, like I think that's just going to be a commodity of like that good, positive, light worker, open-hearted, compassion energy. And I'm just gonna, you know, travel when it is in alignment to go to the opportunities that arise.
That's beautiful. I don't think all of the light workers, but a lot of the light workers, we were, yes, placed in different places. I know for me, I've been traveling and living in different places. So
Mm-hmm.
now, then I didn't know I was actually doing light work, but
Yeah.
now I understand that it was part of my vibration was needed in different places around the planet. Um, and as you're saying, I know for me, I've been working online most of the time since I started this spiritual business, and I'm really needing now more and more of those
Mm,
live sessions with people, because
yeah.
if it's incredible online, it's 10 times, 100 times more incredible in person. And as you were saying, I think it really is, you have like your own unique vibration, and people can
Mm-hmm.
experience you in such a level, and then get so much from connecting with you, even online too, but in person as well, is just very beautiful.
Yeah, and that reminded me too. I mean, like I've gone to a couple different states since going on this journey, and I think I've always read and resonated with going all over too, because I never felt like I belonged here, like growing up. It's like, oh, I don't fit into any group in my school. And then I knew that my people were always out there. So then I realized like my people are old souls, and people that I can have conversations like this with. So it's like they're all over. And I'm always curious about, there's another human on this planet who's having very different detail wise different life than me, yet I do love when it comes to spirituality, like we're still working the light. So it's just like always cool to be like, oh, that's how you're doing it. Like I want to share how I do it. I want to hear about how you do it. And I'm just seeing right now like the visuals of it's like sparklers, like you have a sparkler and then you touch someone else's sparkler almost and share it all over.
Yeah, I do see that too, like this kind of coming together,
Mm-hmm.
and sensing, as we were saying just now, like if it's incredible with one light worker, how beautiful would it
Yeah.
be with a few or many of them doing the same. something like congruent at the same time. Yes, we do it with meditations and healing
Mm-hmm.
sessions sometimes online right now, but I think it would be very beautiful to see it in person, of course. Would you
Yeah.
like to explain a little bit like how you work? That would be nice to hear.
I would say I do a couple different things. So I've also taught like online classes or workshops in regards to like intimacy and how, I don't want to say like, because self-love is just like bubble baths and stuff, but how actually like loving all parts of yourself attract the relationships you want. I've also been doing like spiritual readings here in person at a metaphysical shop. I have also done energy healing, energy work for people. Basically, I kind of feel like it's leading them to a meditative state, and then I can pick up on where there's something going on, but they can also feel it. So then it's just bringing, conscious awareness and almost like a guided meditation to what they're ready to hear and integrate. And then, yeah, I've been doing coaching a little bit too. So it's kind of the same thing, obviously, just more like conversation based of, hey, how's it going? What do you want to work on? And then, even like my very beginning of this whole journey, like when I was learning about the law of attraction, I heard the term like soul homework. Like I just wanted to assign work for people to get to know themselves. So after I write up like a document of, hey, try this meditation practice, or literally just see a white divine light around you before bed. Um, I do find, I think part of what I want to do here is help other people bring other people together and mend a lot of bridges. So a lot of that is if they need to write a letter to someone or just visualize a conversation of like, when this happened, I felt blank, and to kind of open the doors for, like I said, mending bridges, bringing people together again, even if they feel like, or they have blocked their heart off and they're like, I'm never going to talk to this person again. Like it's possible to do. And what you just said before, bringing people together, like we need to do that. And I can help you how to do that, because we're not taught how to do that in a way that feels honorable for each person and like a good exchange.
So what I'm sensing is like a lot of like sharing the knowledge, the wisdom that you develop, and try to see what fits with the person in front of you and what tools they can actually use when they're on their own and you're not there, so that
Mm-hmm.
they actually attain whatever goals they have in their healing.
Yeah, that reminds me, like, it's kind of becoming the person that I wish I had for a long time. Like, right. Oh, all this stuff that I learned, like, I learned it when I was meant to. However, if I had a lot of it at an earlier time and be like, oh, dang, like, I don't have to go through all the other points. But if I can do that for other people and have it feel in a way that feels, again, really good and not salesy and icky and pushing it on to people, like, I want to build a life and business from that space for sure.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's very beautiful. I love that. It's and you were saying empathy. I think all of my services also built it like that. Like it was like I didn't have anyone that was holding my hand when I was
Yeah.
going through, a PTSD and like so much past trauma, like so many things, and you're like you feel so alone. And I do believe that's like a big part of why we want to do this is like we don't want
Mm-hmm.
other people to be feeling so alone and not knowing what's happening to them, how to process things, not having any tools. Sometimes can take years before you're actually finding stuff that work for you. So if
Yeah.
we can help expedite this process of finding what works for you. It feels very good, right?
Yeah. And this was like what you just said, it was said at the beginning too. Again, I understand why my journey kind of has taken the time or how it did, because it feels like all of it is coming together very synchronistically, just like after the pandemic, and COVID and oh, people are looking for depth. They're realizing that they're so stressed and they don't know what to do with it. Just like a lot of this stuff. And I'm pretty young still, and there's like a couple people that I've had in my life who are older, and they're like, I wish I had, what you did now. So it's like, thank you for lighting the way how you did. And like, yes, I'll take the torch. And it just, I haven't like, yeah, seen this for a while, but like really seeing the ripples for sure. And just it'll grow very like exponentially too. And so then it also makes sense why there's almost so much groundwork and foundation laying and building. So it's like, dang, like you gotta, just hit all the angles and the 360 view for sure.
Exactly. You need to see yourself inside out and go through all of the shadow work and all of the
Yeah.
inner child work and all of those layers of trauma until you get to your own alignment,
Mhm.
and then it's easier. And it's not to say that we can't help people. Yeah, none of us are perfect and have everything figured out, but you need at least a couple step ahead so that you can
Yeah.
hold the hand to someone that wants to get where you're at.
Yeah, because this physical vessel that I feel limited in it sometimes for sure. Like I know that I'm very expansive, but I'm like, oh, okay, it can only hold so much right now. And like processing the old stuff, like I've gotten very good at that. And it's realizing like, oh, the old gunk. I felt it as like a black ball the last couple days, like that has to kind of dissolve and work its way out of your system. Or like my skin, like a year ago, it was really bad and red. I started to get better like in February, seeing a new chiropractor, and then with the last month, all this stuff, it's flaring up again. So it's like, okay, there's more old stuff that's literally like coming out of your cells and your DNA. And not everybody that I talk to when they say I've had a stomach ache for a month gets it, but I'm like, I mean, I get it. Like I get it. Um, it's old stuff that is purging out that I'm aware of, and I'm just holding my hand through that.
Exactly. And it's just so important because and I think we all have our ups and downs, even if
Mhm.
we're doing this podcast today, but we have crappy days like everyone else.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
this path of ascension is, there are so many things you can't not take with you. There are people, there are experiences, there are energies, there are emotions, there's so many things. You have to shed that skin.
Mm,
And sometimes like me, I thought I had healed that. Nope, you had
yeah.
not completely. You probably did at a certain level, but you needed more things. And I think what's beautiful is like as we come together like this and express that anyone
Mhm.
that listens, like, oh, I'm not the only one,
Yeah.
and we can hold each other in a safe space in that too, because it isn't easy. Ascension is not easy for anyone. And for those that don't know, ascension is choosing the light, choosing to have a life that's aligned with you, choosing to not be in this matrix, boxy, this is what you have to do like everybody else, but expanding into what your soul wants to do in this
Mm,
lifetime, having loving relationships, starting with your own, with yourself, with your body, with your emotions, with your
mhm.
thoughts, anything else, and then connecting to everything that's around us, not being a zombie on this planet.
Mm.
um, but yeah, I think it's beautiful to be able to share that. Yeah, we don't always have good times, but at least we can talk about it more, a lot more now than probably, I don't know, 40 or 50 years ago.
Yeah, right. That's a crazy amount of time that it's changed so much. And like again, I know that I could spend my whole career life just like going around to so many people on the planet and like having them share their deepest, darkest, heaviest stuff with me, and I would still have more work to do just because like I don't think there are enough safe spaces. Like, I think the go-to is like go to therapy, which is awesome, like to start to process that. But the reason like I tried to do that and like I just wasn't ready to share it. Like I think I had throat chakra blocks, like I just wasn't open to the process. So
Mhm.
some of this other stuff kind of moved through and it would be easier for me to do now, yet I think it sometimes did lack that depth too of going deeper into the nervous system and um just because I think now I can like talk and channel and start to make connections and process things, but I don't like that wasn't me when I started this for sure. Like the more that I purified my vessel, if you will, you know, by switching food and water, like now I can do it. But I think a lot of times people just go to therapy and they say what they think they need to say, or they're not ready to really go deep and open their heart. They're still in so much in their head.
Yeah. Yeah, I went to therapy too, and I remember I had one person. It was when I had my PTSD and I mean, my body, my soul, everything within me was like, okay, enough, enough. This is not working for you. And then I went to see this counselor, and I was like, why am I here? Like it doesn't help me. And I felt this person was trying to help me with all of his heart, but it just did not
Yeah.
sink in. It just didn't feel right. And then I tried to do it on my own because I just decided not to go anymore. And
Mhm.
and then I found another one. But there was this again, I think for me right now, and also being a social worker from my old career, there's that energy. You can't separate the story and the energy. The energy is even more important
Yeah.
than the story itself. Like how
Yeah.
did you integrate that, and what did it block inside of you? And as you were saying, like the throat chakra, if you don't clear that, how can you speak
Yeah.
your truth in front of people? How can you set boundaries? How can you all of those things? It's just so
Right.
important to see everything all together. So I think that's what's beautiful, I think, with all of us that are awakening to those energies, remembering our gifts, remembering that we're so much more than what we were told, and
Yeah.
that we have so much more power that we were told too, and that we can change our life. That's not because you went through so much trauma and crap in your life that your life cannot change in the future or even just right
Mhm.
now. So beautiful.
Yeah, I think what you just said is like a really good way, again, that I haven't really seen it, but like the story, right? The tape that your head runs is one thing. And then for sure, like where did I hold it in my body? That was definitely just this piece that I've become more and more aware of. And I know you mentioned like past lives a while ago, and like I've heard about some of them for me, and like again, just that's helped me understand sometimes there's some energies or why things the way they were. Like so I was a young girl and I like had crushes on guys, but I was still like kind of afraid of them. Like I didn't want to be around them. And then like I said, my dad was just kind of up and down. So for a long time I was like really afraid of men. And I think I've had a lot of lives where I did need to protect myself from them. They didn't protect me. They didn't, I wasn't safe around them. And part of me remembered that. So to really like come as far as I have, and again, that short amount of time, it's really crazy to think about that I did kind of process a lot of that. And um it is like a fast amount of time in a certain way, but then in another way, it's like, well, it was like almost a long time of buildup. So that integrating and processing and being tired and fatigued sometimes is like, oh, I'm probably doing more work than I'm consciously aware of. Right? Does that make sense?
Yeah. Um, and I think the energies right now, they're magical. So, and I think that's why I remember I was working with other people. They were psychologists, for example, or
Mm-hmm.
therapists, whatever type of therapist, and they wanted to keep their clients for like whatever number of years, and that was
Mm-hmm.
always something very triggering to me. It was like can we just give them the tools so that they can actually not come back and
Oh,
just feel good and have everything they need? And of course, you can call me if there is anything, right? I'll leave that
yeah.
door open. But so there
Yeah.
was that. But right now, what I'm sensing is that
Mm.
if you choose you, if you choose, you want to be happy, everything, or even if you don't, because I think this year is very intense for everyone. So it's like, okay, you're choosing, you want to be happy, you want to be more authentic, you want to release all of that trauma. All right, well, let's do it. And we were talking about light language. For me, I am singing and speaking light language, and it
Mm.
clears so many things. And
Oh wow.
and that's the only thing I see or I know, like I connect to. Because if I would actually see the ripple effect in all of this
Mm.
universe, I think it would be even greater. But
Mm.
what I'm sensing is that the energies are here. If you're ready to
Yeah.
heal, it will go a lot faster than probably a long time ago. And for those that are not ready, well, you're gonna hit a few roadblocks, and then the universe is
Yeah.
gonna say, "Are you gonna look at it? Yeah, yeah. Are you ready now? No." And then things get more and more and more difficult because human beings are like that. We only move or change where we are not feeling comfortable. So that's
Mm.
part of the process.
Mm. Yeah. That's such a good point. For sure. I mean, this journey has been really hard, yet if I just kind of stayed, like, I think I would die slowly. I would be dying slowly compared to just like going head on, full black to white, 100% in. And with that being said, like it's been so much very quickly, but like I said at the beginning, like just I've kind of gotten to a point where I have thoughts every day that I never thought I would have. When you're a kid, you think I'll grow up and this is how it'll go. And like, I just kind of keep hitting different roadblocks. And it's like, the more I've opened up and become expansive, like, there's an entire universe out there. If you open up to that supporting you, like, you're gonna experience things or achieve things that your little brain can't even think of. So again, I think if someone who is ready to hear that, they're like, oh, cool, like I want to do that. Then there's people who are like, I kind of want to do it and take a couple steps. And then people who would be like, it goes completely over their head.
That's beautiful. I totally agree. I think you would tell my 20-year-old self, like where we're living right now, what we're doing for work. She would be like, oh my God, this is so cool. Which I think she wouldn't believe it. She would be like, no way, this is not me. I
Yeah.
think it's a very beautiful message you just said that once you allow yourself to be supported, to receive the love that's around you, to connect to everything that is around you, everyone around you. There's a lot more love, a lot more support, a lot more peace and harmony if you focus on that.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I'll talking about the mindset again, but being able to receive again, even if you were hurt. And that's a big learning. A lot of us just shut
Mm-hmm.
down and we're just like, oh no, I don't believe in love and again. I don't want to talk to these people because they might hurt us, like whatever, right? We just close up so much. But once you open up again, then you're really surprised by the universe in
Yeah.
so many magical ways.
Yep. 100%.
Are you ready to share your beautiful light language with us?
Yes.
I am
Yeah.
excited. I
Cool.
usually share, but I sometimes receive the light language too.
Mm. Have you heard I talked like with one person one time because I didn't know that there are different like light languages. So that's been cool because I didn't know that everyone's is kind of different. Now that I do know though, I can hear differences. So I think that's cool.
Exactly. Well, it's like when you don't know a language and you feel they all sound the same.
Yeah.
But they're not. They're actually very different. So I think it's the same thing, right? Just like developing the sensitivity to see and the vibration to it more, how you feel and the vibration. So for those, I know we had some light language before in this podcast, but for those that don't know, don't try to understand with your mind. Just try to
Mhm.
open your beautiful heart. Anything that needs to be released will be released. Everything you need to receive will be received as long as you feel open to it. don't be scared. We're always connecting with beautiful beings of love. You're in a safe space. And I'm just going to let Rachel channel for us now.
Well done.
Beautiful. So I think, you just said that before. I felt just first before I share other things, I felt a lot of clearing in my heart, that's for sure. They were like, this has to go. Or like replacing, I don't know. And that's the beauty about it. Every time I share mine or I listen to other people's light language, it just does everything you actually needs. And it's just a very intelligent healing frequency that we can channel. Thank you so much for that. It's just beautiful.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful, very galactic. Beautiful.
Well, as you were saying that, because I do think being an old soul empath starseed, like I've learned how to not live from my brain, more from my heart. So maybe light language wants to come onto the planet now just to clear so many hearts, kind of like, right, just clear up that space in a new frequency kind of way, I guess.
Yeah. When I sing it or I speak it, the heart is usually very, very central. And in a sense that what I'm sensing about it is that it is a way for people to release old blocks, like old galactic wars things or whatever, old past lives experience and trauma, without having to use any of that. It just goes wherever it needs to go and it clears. And anytime you would rewatch, for example, this part of the recording, you would release something different because your vibration is different every day and you evolve every day. So it's a very intelligent. I think for me, since I know about light language, I think it's my favorite thing. I love all of the other gifts.
Yeah.
Everything merges so beautifully together. We're so blessed.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you for reminding me that too. Just like I have a lot of gifts, and I think connecting with other spiritual people or healers, it's just like, oh yeah, like I remember that, instead of getting caught up in, whatever I need to do or stuff that bogs me down sometimes. So thank you.
Oh, you're so welcome. Yeah, that's why I made the Thirsty Gathering podcast. We need to connect with each other because we have been on this path for a long time alone and feeling like aliens, although we are, but in a way that didn't feel good. This is a place where you can be an alien.
Yeah.
Feel like an alien, but you still have a beautiful space full of hearts open to receive you and see you as who you really are. Thank you so much for sharing your beautiful language, your beautiful heart with us. It was such a pleasure to meet your beautiful soul.
Yeah, my pleasure too. Thank you.
So we will leave your beautiful contact information for anyone that needs or wants to know you more. Just connect and say hi, whatever they want to know more about you. And for all of you beautiful listeners, we'll see you in the next Starseed gathering. Until then, we send you such a beautiful hug of love. Feel your beautiful heart of this love that we're sending you. And remember that to connect with the souls that you feel really safe with. This is something that your soul knows. And we're all coming together now. You're not alone anymore. Thank you.
Thank you.